everybody, this is Wargamer Shawn. I'm coming at you today doing a video. I'm going to do a three-part video that's going to be for Chief Live Wargaming's basically narrative campaign and his I think it's let me just check. I think it's a 350 subs giveaway. I guess I'm mainly doing it because I love Fluff, and so I'm doing kind of a Fluff idea that he can choose to use for his campaign, and the main friends that he plays against are playing Space Wolves and Tyranids. And I was hoping to include the Genestealer Cult into it as kind of a reason for the Tyranids to get involved, and then Jake actually mentioned that the person playing Tyranids wanted to be able to include Genestealer Cult, so I was like, perfect. I'm going to make 3 videos that kind of go through the reason or the fluff as to why each of these basically groups of beings are at this planet, and why they would be fighting over its potential people or resources. The first one that I'm going to do is going to be the Genestealer Cult and Tyranids, and then I'm going to do another part doing the wolves, the space wolves, and then another one that is the chaos marines and chaos space marines and demons, and why they would be there as well. Excuse me. I'm going to kind of tell a little bit of the background, and then I'm probably going to do part of this as if you were hearing the basically some of the characters interacting with themselves. So without further ado, we'll get to it, and we're gonna go to the Tyranids. Now, my idea, and they can feel free to change this. I know they want to basically meet on a planet, and so I was going to give a little background to that. All right. It was an imperial world that had been part of the Imperium of Man since the expansion of the Emperor's Great Crusade. It was a planet that was core-word and anti-spin-word in the Milky Way galaxy. The planet and the system was a Planaria system, and the planet was Planaria 5. The planet was very important because it fed many of the surrounding systems agriculturally. The governor of the system was Governor Javaris. Governor Javaris was a very stern man and led the people in a free but repressed life with hard work and labor. His commander of the local Imperial Guard unit was Commander Lentz, and also a high commissar in the group was Commissar Mondavel. The two were meeting with Governor Javaris because many of the smaller local governorships of the world were basically making complaints about the working conditions and the support that the governor was giving them as far as both military and as well as monies available to improve their local territories. The governor wasn't very happy with having to do this meeting, but Commander Lentz and Commissar Mondavel basically expressed to him that it was important to meet with them to resolve this issue so that the world could continue to meet the needs of the Imperium by providing food efficiently. Governor Javaris was on his way to the meeting with Commander Lentz and Commissar Mondavel, and the transport took an unexpected turn towards one of the more industrial sides of the capital city. Governor Javaris was a little surprised by this. "Where are we going? This doesn't look like the way to the capital." Commander Lentz reassured him, "Don't worry, we're meeting in a different location because there were bomb threats at the original location, and we wanted to take measures to ensure your safety, Governor." The commissar looked stern, but gave a reassuring nod, and Governor Javaris was more relaxed. By the time they pulled up to a rusted old building that was derelict and had been abandoned for years, the two men led Governor Javaris into a small rusted building. Inside the building, they found a small table with just a few chairs. Governor Javaris took a seat and was his usual impatient self. Where is everybody? I don't see anybody here. Are we first to arrive? This doesn't look like it would hold enough people. Soon, the room adjacent and the door that connected the two swung open. In through the room came some what looked like to Governor Javaris people, but seemed a little off. The color seemed a little pale, purplish, and their skin looked a little interesting. They were bald. They didn't have any noticeable facial skin hair at all. And then following it was a horror that he was not prepared for or had never seen in his whole life. In walking through was a large being with multiple arms. Two of them had sharp, almost talon-like features, and the other two had what looked like fingers with claws on them as well. One of them reached up and scratched at the large temple that the creature had. It looked like almost a cross between a lizard and an insect, and it walked towards the governor, and it spoke in a almost hissing sound. We've been looking forward to meeting you for a long time. My name is Patriarch Zealous. We have been hoping to get you close for a very long time. You are the final linchpin that will help secure this world and become one, a whole, and part of my domain. The governor, shaking in his seat and being held down by both Commissar Mondavel and Commander Lentz, suddenly realized that he was in a trap. Who are you? What do you guys want with me? What are you two doing? Why are you helping this thing? And the Patriarch spoke again. Don't worry. They're with me, and soon so will you. And soon, out of the mouth, a long, sickling-looking tongue with a mouth on the end shot out of the Patriarch and hit Governor Javaris squarely in the mouth, seeding into him the Genestealer Patriarch's brood seed, and thus also converting Governor Javaris into the Genestealer Cult. With the governor now under the Patriarch's control, Patriarch Zealous was able to control virtually the whole Plenaria world. Work continued, and crops continued to be harvested, and things seemed normal. In addition, pure strain Genestealers were able to stow away aboard ships that delivered crops to nearby systems and planets, and thereby Patriarch Zealous hoped to infest other planets and other worlds and become under their control. The planet was basically more subdued than it ever had been before, and the workers and people worked happily, all under the control of the Patriarch. What he didn't know is, but as he became stronger and more powerful, a signal basically emerged from his psychic mind, and that signal and pulse was picked up by the Hive Fleet. The Hive Fleet was basically drawn to Plenaria, and basically the signal, unbeknownst to the Patriarch, and all part of his genetic makeup as designed by the hive mind, drew the hive mind to the planet, and thus basically ripe for harvesting and basically becoming biomass for the hive fleet. Now, normally after the hive fleet invades, many the Patriarch will become under the control of the hive fleet. However, some Genestealers inevitably will stow away aboard other craft and basically infest or infect other planets, and thus drawing the hive fleet to another planet that's rife for picking and basically meets little resistance to being able to be harvested into biomass. Everything was going fine on Plenaria, and Patriarch Zealous was becoming more powerful. One day, an odd disturbance occurred outside the capital. It seemed that a warp disturbance had opened, and there seemed to be things that had kind of come out of the warp rift, and it was staying open. Both Primus Megan Norst and Magus Hans Brick had basically warned Patriarch Zealous that there was this disturbance. In addition, they also had basically, or Magus Hans Brick had been able to divine that there were 2 fleets approaching the planet. One of the fleets appeared to be of the Space Wolves. It seemed as a commander by the name of Crom Dragongaze was in charge of the fleet. Another fleet seemed to be more haphazard and seemed to be more derelict and ancient and made of a multitude of craft. Some of these seemed to be almost infected, almost pus-like and diseased. Magus Hans Brick warned that these seemed to be creatures from the warp, or at least tainted with the warp. By the time these fleets came into the system, Patriarch Zealous no longer had to worry about such things, as the Hive fleet had arrived and assumed control of Patriarch Zealous, and the rest of the system was in total compliance for Hive biomass reclamation. However, since there were other fleets coming into system, the Tyranids would not be able to convert the biomass into use quite so easily without a fight. And thus, one of our 3 armies has come to the system and realized that they have a fight on their hands. Hopefully you've enjoyed this part of the basically fluff or explanation for the campaign, and you are certainly free to use it if you wish to for the campaign that you intend to play. I intend to keep an eye out for it and watch it, and I am excited to see how it evolves and basically what resolution occurs, which army ends up taking over the planet. Do the wolves free the planet? Does the chaos convert and basically spoil the planet? Or does the Hive fleet basically destroy everything and use all of its biomass to make itself greater? I guess we'll have to stay tuned.
Goodbye, you sexy motherfucker.